teaching you how to read the inches tape and then the centimeter tape. So let's start from the inches. I'm sorry, we're not starting from this side just because this is complete though, but just so you understand what I'm saying, I'm going to be starting from this 1 inch. So first of all, this long line you see here is the inches. That's for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the whole number. That's where you get the 1, 2, 3, the longest line. Now this next line, okay, let me just first of all show you the major ones. So this is the 1, that's 1 inch. If you skip this, you see that somehow this one is somehow longer. This is the 1/4 inch. Right, so I'm going to be writing it here so you can understand what I'm saying. So now there is a long line, which is this, and then there is this line that's longer than the ones beside it. These two are equal, and then there's another really long one. So let me show you the main ones you usually always hear. This is the 1 inch. So when you hear inch, 1 inch, 2 inches is this longest line, 1, 2, 3, all the way to the end. Then you usually hear 1/2 inch. That's the next long line in between the 1 inch. That's 1/2 inch. That's what you usually hear, 1/2 inch. So that's what you usually hear from this point. Now the next thing you might usually hear is 1/4, 1/4. That's half divided by 2. That is this next long line in between 1/2 inch. This one, this line, that's a quarter. So when you hear a quarter, that's what they mean. When they say 1 inch and 1/4, that is an entire inch and then a quarter. Then the next thing you usually hear is 3/4 inch. This is what it means. This line, after a quarter, after half, in between the next half, that line, this line, that is the 3/4 inch you usually hear. 3/4. So that's what that means. This is 3/4. Now there's sometimes you hear things like 1/8. You hear things like 3/8, 5/8, and then 7/8, I think. Okay, so I'm going to be showing you what they mean by all that. Now you see the smaller lines in between, these ones in between, and we have not yet identified this line, this line, this line, this line. Naturally, in the inches ruler, this entire thing from here to here are called 8s, 1/8, and so that makes them 1/8 to make an inch. So technically this should have been 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8, and then 8/8, which is a complete inch. But it's not called like that because these individual ones already have their names. Although 2/8 is equal to a quarter when you divide it. 2/8 divided by 2, that's a quarter. Same with the half, which is technically 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8 divided by 4. So that's 1. And that's 2. So the next one plus another 4, just like that. That's how you get 3/4. But we don't call it that. This one is called a quarter, this is half, and then this is 3/4. Now what that means is this inside ones, these small ones, because in some measurements sometimes when you're drafting your patterns, you can hear things like use 1/8 inch, use 3/8, use 5/8. What all those English just simply means are this is 1/8, this should be 2/8, but no, we call it a quarter of a full inch. So that automatically makes this 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8, and then 8/8. This is 1/8 inch, sorry. This is 2/8, so that means this is 3/8, this is 5/8, and this is 7/8. So when you hear all those things like 1/8, this is what they mean. When you hear 3/8, is this next line. When you hear 7/8 of an inch, 5/8 of an inch, that's this line. And then when you hear 7/8 of an inch, that is it. So I hope I've been able to explain the inches ruler. So when you're hearing all those 8s and 8s, you know what they're talking about. So now I'm going to go over to the centimeter ruler. Well, it's not really complicated. This is pretty much simple, and most people prefer to use this for their patterns, but I prefer to use the inches ruler, and that's the one I've always used. But just in case you use the centimeters, it's pretty much straightforward. This line means 1 centimeter, 2 centimeters, 3 centimeters, 4, 5, 6, and so on and so forth. You can see there's this other line that is longer than, almost as long as this, but still longer than the ones in between. That's 1/2 of a centimeter. So when you hear 1.5 centimeter, this is what they mean. Then you hear 2 centimeters the next. These middle ones are just millimeters. So in between a centimeter, you have 1, 2, you have 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm sorry, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You have 8 millimeters in between a centimeter. So when you hear 1 centimeter and 3 millimeters, you know what that means. That's 1, 2, 3 line. Then you hear 2 centimeters and 4 millimeters. That's just what it means. So guys, it's pretty much straightforward. I think the most complicated of the rulers is the inches ruler, where you hear all those whatnot and whatnot. So when you hear 1/8 and 3/8 and 4/8 or millimeters, you're no longer confused. All right, thank you. Until the next one, guys. Bye.